you said you picked up mechanics. I'm not picking up
All of these are examples of what can be prevented with driver's education.
Education today starts now!
Welcome to Education Today. I'm Kiara Ebig.
And I'm Nate Robb from Katanning High School in the Armstrong School District.
It's a time that nearly every parent dreads, yet they look forward to in their students' lives. Their first date, first time they go on a school trip far away, or is it the first day of school? That may all be good guesses, but none of these are what we're going to talk about tonight.
Tonight we're talking about the day that your students get their driver's permit and eventually their license. The day where parents no longer hear the question, can you drop me off or pick me and my friends up? But with a license comes a lot of responsibility and new dangers to new drivers. What can we do to keep our new drivers safe and prepared? We can get them into district driver ed classes. Tonight we have two of many ASD driver's ed teachers.
Welcome to Education Today. My first question is, would you please introduce yourselves and roles with the school district?
My name is Mr. Dave Powers. I am a teacher at West Shamokin High School where I teach both world cultures and driver education in the classroom.
My name is Mr. Eric Gromley. I teach driver's education and behind-wheel training, and I also teach technology education in Armstrong School District.
And how long have you been teaching the driver's ed courses?
I've been involved with the driver ed program for 11 years.
Well, I've taught driver's ed since 1992 intermittently, approximately 22 years off and on.
Approximately how many students are in these classes?
At West Shamokin we have 3 sections per semester, so that would be roughly 140 to 160 students per year.
When and where are these classes offered and are students required to take them?
At West Shamokin we have 3 sections per semester, which is roughly 140 to 160 sophomores per year. It is a graduation requirement within the Armstrong School District that all students must pass driver education.
And most students really want to take driver's education, so it's not hard to keep those classes set. And another thing. Most class sizes are roughly 20 students per class, so it works out real well.
Does the district offer both in the class and in the car experience?
The district does offer both classroom and in-car practice. The classroom portion is the required portion. It is up to the students if they choose to do the in-car portion as well. Is there anything?
No, that's a very good answer.
Is the classroom and in-car experience offered in the summer months as well?
Yes, the classroom hasn't been offered for a while. However, the ASD Cyber School does offer, I believe, class through the summer, but your behind-the-wheel driving is something that definitely every year does go through the summer months. It mostly depends on when the student is going to turn 16, when they got their permit, and the 6 months grace period when their testing date's available for their junior license.
And I will add to the cyber school. That is offered year-round as well. Mr. McCullough out at West Shamokin does teach that through cyber school.
Do you teach both in the classroom and in the car, or there's others involved?
I'm personally only teaching in the classroom at this point in time, and Ms. Sue Meixelberger and Mr. Judd McCullough do the in-car instruction at West Shamokin.
There's also two other instructors at Katanning Senior High School besides myself that do behind-the-wheel training as well as the classroom instruction. Mr. Bud Stanley, Ed Morrison, and I believe at Ford City it's Stacy Kluken and Mr. Frazier, Stuart Frazier.
For those who either do not take the class or miss it, what are other alternatives that they can explore?
As we previously mentioned, summer school is an option. I don't know how often students do take that opportunity, but I know it is an option out there, plus the ASD Cyber School. I also have some juniors and seniors that were unable to take it their sophomore year and are taking it currently.
And that would be the same for mine as well.
Do all the students have a permit when they enroll to take the driver's ed classes, or do some have driver's license?
A little bit of both. Majority of students, I don't believe, do have their permits yet. They get them during their sophomore years, but we do have some students that already have their permit, or I have a few this year that already have their driver's license.
And that seems to be the standard, I think, district-wide, that, you know, again, it depends on when they turn 16 and when their testing date is available.
If a student does not have their license yet, do they have the option of taking the driver's test through these classes, or do they need to get a PennDOT?
The students must complete the classroom portion first before they can do the driver's exam with the schools. They always have that option to go to the DMV whenever they're eligible. But I think because of the insurance breaks, most students choose to wait to take the driver's part at the schools.
Okay, we're going to take a short break now. We'll be back in a minute to talk about more importance of the driver's ed classes. Stick around.
Before I came to IUP, I had no idea what college would be like or what role I would play or where I'd be in the future. But when I came to IUP, everything changed. I met people who really made me feel like I belonged. I had great classes at a great nationally ranked university. Hi, my name's Megan Miller. I'm a fine arts major, and this is my university.
And we're back with Education Today. Tonight's topic is the importance of driver's ed classes, and we are joined by two of the ASD driver's ed teachers.
Generally speaking, why do you see the classes as being so important?
I believe the class is very important. You cannot put a value on a young person's life, and statistics have shown that when driver education courses are offered, there are less crashes involving teenagers.
I would also like to add to that. I can't count the number of students that have came to me over the years after having the class or the behind-the-wheel training that were almost involved in an accident in which, because they had the training and because they had the foresight, they were able to avoid the accident or accidents, whichever may be the case, and avoid it totally. So I feel it's of great importance, especially with the number of fatalities we have nationally and statewide and countywide every year. There's approximately 8 to 9 fatalities in Armstrong County due to reckless driving, driver error, any of those things.
Recently, there was some concern about the program continuing because of a series of different elements, including the condition of cars being used. What is the current status of the program at this point?
At West Shamokin, we've received a new driver's training car. They recently started using it about 2 weeks ago. And they raised the fees for students to participate in the in-car program from $35 to $50. That's as far as West Shamokin. Mr. Gromick, maybe.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I believe that's district-wide. That is the case for Katanning as well.
What topics or areas are covered during the course?
At West Shamokin, I put an emphasis on the new PA teen driving laws, distractions, which I think are very important, especially with young people and cell phones, drinking and driving, seatbelt safety, a lot of basic driving principles, parallel parking, things like that. and car maintenance as well.
I just have generalization of all those things. I guess pretty much the same thing that Mr. Powers had said. Pennsylvania laws and regulations, knowledge of vehicle operations, perceptual skills development, decision-making, risk reduction, driving conditions, and influences upon driver performance, which pretty much boils down to the same thing that Mr. Powers has said.
I'm not sure if you're aware of any statistics, but if you are, do you know of any information that shows the difference between those who take driver's ed classes and those who don't?
Do you have any?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Powers. I found that young drivers, and this would be posted on the Department of Transportation site, vehicle crashes are the leading cause of death among 16 to 24-year-olds. That's always been the case. And in 2011, the economic loss due to traffic crashes was $1,130 for every man, woman, and child in Pennsylvania. So that's an astronomical figure. And again, that just leads back to one of our first questions, one of our earlier questions, how important is driver's education to us, even locally in our county?
Over the last few years, both of you have brought different events to your schools that involve safe driving. Mr. Gromley, let's start with your event that held a few years ago at Irvington High School.
Yes, what we had was Sandra Toy from IUP, which was the coordinator at the time. Now she's retired, and Bevy Powell is the now current coordinator at IUP, and she's a Katanning native, actually. What we did, we have multiple stations. One station dealing with texting while driving, very important thing. One of the newer things that we have to deal with driving, since phone technologies came a long way in the last few years. Another station was seatbelt buckling up awareness, or buckle up seatbelt awareness. And what you did was kind of like the old time Chinese fire drill, and you would each student would take a turn rotating and buckling up to see how fast those students could get buckled up and back in their seat with the doors closed, ready to drive. And each group was timed, and then there was a winner, of course, out of the group. Another event that we had was simulated driving under the influence, where the students take a remote control car and drive it through a course. Then after that, they wear DUI simulator goggles and try to drive the same course. And of course, it's much more difficult that way. And oftentimes they have accidents and things like that. Fortunately, it's just a remote control car. There's another station too then that we went over laws and regulations and common facts about driving and tips. Mr. Powers, did you have anything to add to that? Or?
The program we run at West Shamokin, we started last year. We call it West Shamokin Safe Driving Awareness Day. And we received a $2,000 grant from the ASD Foundation, which enabled us to bring in a driving simulator from a group called Peer Awareness. And they are based out of Michigan. They've been featured on the NBC Today show. They've been to numerous colleges and schools throughout the country. And it's essentially the students got to set in an actual vehicle and be in like a virtual reality situation where they could experience the dangers of texting and driving. And most of the feedback from the students that participated and some of the staff also said that how realistic it was and how much they learned from it as well. Now we are also currently planning our second West Shamokin Safe Driving Day for April 26th of this coming year. And we do it for 10th through 12th graders. It's an all-day event. This year we're planning on bringing in the Pennsylvania DUI Safety Bug, which is a Volkswagen that students can drive if they are a licensed driver, and it simulates impaired driving. So that's something new for this year. The IUP Regional Highway Safety Team that Mr. Gromley just mentioned with Miss Bevy Powell, they also participate in our event. PennDOT comes in and does some different activities as well to demonstrate safety. Rosebud Trucking brings out a coal truck, and students can sit in the cab and see where blind spots are, which for a lot of the students last year, that was very eye-opening to realize how little you can see from inside of a coal truck. We use the impaired driving goggles. The Army National Guard brings out their go-karts, and the students get to go through a maze wearing the impaired vision goggles. We also use the WE driving system. We have local insurance companies come out nationwide, State Farm, Allstate. They are all three represented. Local police departments are represented. We're going to have fire and rescue trucks there this year from 3 communities. Paramedics come in, and also the Shannock Valley Antique Car Club also participates in the event. So it's a rather large event that we've had to start planning already.
Mr. Powers, just last year, you were awarded a grant through the ASD Foundation for a piece of equipment to help educate students about safe driving. Can you please tell us about that?
Okay, as I mentioned, that is from Peer Awareness. It's an excellent group. Mr. Tom Reynolds is the person that was the contact for that. And it's different than any other simulator that I've been involved with, primarily because it involves an actual automobile and the virtual reality portion of it. When I personally did it, it was eye-opening as to how quick things can happen when you're trying to text and drive. And I think for the teens that were involved as well, I think it really opened our eyes to the dangers of texting and driving.
Are there any other events or programs that are coordinated as it relates to driving safety throughout the school year?
At West Shamokin, I have a couple different things that we're going to be doing on November 2nd, next week. Officer Christian DeCiccio of the Kiski Township Police will be in to present a seatbelt safety program called Survival 101. And then I also have Trooper Keston of the Butler State Police come over and speak to all the sophomores about various safety issues, including driving safety.
And those are some of the same programs we do district-wide as well. There's also another competition that's done, several teachers throughout the district go to at IUP again. It's Indiana Regional Safe Driving Competition every year. The competition offers varying amounts of money for grants and give door prizes away at the competition and give everybody a free meal while they're there. And it's a really, really good eye-opener for the students. The competition is good. The overall exposure for safe driving is good, and they can end up with as much as $8,000 if they was to win the state competition later in the year. So it's really fantastic opportunity for people in driver's education. We also had had the opportunity to participate in some other competitions over the years. One of them was called Drive Safe PA, and what it was a public service announcement. Public service announcement was created by the student as a writing activity using driver's ed topics, and if they were chosen for their specific district, and our district is District 10 through PennDOT, and it consists of Armstrong, Butler, Clarion, Jefferson, and Indiana counties. And we had students within the Armstrong School District win that 3 years in a row. And what they did then, they had the opportunity to go to Harrisburg and do a public service announcement recording in a professional recording studio. And then that was played on the local radio station in Indiana on 106.3 Cat Country as a promotion for safe driving in the area.
Wow, that's great. Are there any resources our viewers can consult to learn more about safe driving?
I came up with some websites that I use in my classroom. drivesafepa.org, Driving Skills for Life. You've maybe seen it advertised on KDKA-TV every now and then. That's a program that they promote and I also use. padui.org, peerawareness.com that we got the simulator through. AAA, the local office of AAA can provide safe driving tips. And AT&T also has a program called It Can Wait, which is about texting and driving.
Thank you. I would also include the Motorcycle Safety Foundation website as well, for other than driving in a car, motorcycle safety. And the Department of Education has on their site all the requirements for driver's education courses in Pennsylvania. And then the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration is a very good source of information as well. And of course, don't forget the PennDOT site, Pennsylvania Department of Transportation.
Well, at this moment, is there anything else you'd like to add for the benefit of our viewers, or anything else we didn't cover?
I'd just like to say that the driver ed program in the Armstrong School District is one of the best in the area. A lot of schools have cut driver education because of budget constraints. And I think for Armstrong School District, for young people like yourselves, that there is no better program going, and I think it's been proven that it saves lives.
I agree, Mr. Powers. I would also like to add, for parents out there, if you see this on the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation website, it's a perfect way for you to put together a little program of your own for that 65 hours that you'll have to run your student or your son or daughter through before they can start the behind the wheel training program. It's called How to Steer Them Safe Driving. It also has a ledger in there for you to record how much time to record for each different type of driving that would be an appropriate amount of time for them to use for nighttime driving, for the inclement weather driving, and some of the other steering and things like that with the driving course.
Well, that's our show for today. Thanks to our guests, Mr. David Powers and Mr. Eric Romley, both teachers and driver's ed teachers in the Armstrong School District. I'd also like to thank the TV production students from Katanning High School, led by their teacher, Mr. Don Swanson. They were our film crew today. Please join us again next week for another look at the Armstrong School District.
For more information about what's going on in the school district, please check us on the next time you're surfing the web. Have a great week.